Hello, my name is Casey Halbert, and this is my Kamiak Butte Term Report video for SOE 300 Natural Resource Ecology. Where the Kamiak Butte is today was not present billions of years ago. Kamiak Butte was put together by many different geological occurrences throughout the years. In the beginning, the continents were all together and seen as an entire land formation that was once called Pangaea. This area was once an ancient seafloor, but as the underground plates collided, our continent was formed, and convergent boundaries pushed up the oceanic plates to form the mountain ranges, and as such, Kamiak Butte was developed. Kamiak Butte is set on a foundation of quartzite rock. The foundation of this butte is also representing the Precambrian belt rocks. The many layers of different sediments in the rocks are composed of mainly quartzites and a result of the lava flows from years ago. The rich soils left behind from glaciers and volcanic eruptions helped the vegetation thrive in many different areas across the 298 acres. Volcanic eruptions had lava flow, which eventually created enough basalt to form a long, thick layer across the entire landscape. This basalt flow eventually led to the covering of most mountains, but leaving the two buttes, Kamiak and Steptoe, uncovered on top of the glacial loess, which is packed with nutritional soft soil. That made it easy for vegetation to grow. For instance, the soil being so rich in the nutrients allows farmers surrounding the butte to grow their harvest. Glaciers and floods helped create the landscape where the Kamiak and Steptoe Butte are today by carving a path for the buttes to take shape. However, over time, another natural occurrence came through known as the Missoula floods. The floods filled the land with fast-moving water which ripped through the ground, resulting in the creation of different pathways for future endeavors. The different temperatures recorded over the years have also affected the overall climate and ecosystems of the area. The rain shadow effect is key to the most of the east side of the state. What we call the rain shadow would not exist today if it weren't for the coastal mountain ranges in the Cascades. We describe that effect as dry zones of land on the leeward side of the prevailing winds. The separation line of the Kamiak Butte from the Pacific coast by the mountain ranges are absolutely necessary for the ecosystems. Kamiak Butte is mainly a dry land area, but the rain shadow causes a moderate type of precipitation to occur, which leads to rain in the warmer months of the year and snowfall in the cooler months. The mesoclimate of Kamiak Butte region in the Palouse Hills causes this rain shadow effect. The continentality level of Kamiak Butte is decent, the site being around 300 to 400 miles from the Pacific coast. Marine polar air masses, cool, soft, and moist air coming from the western coast over the ridged mountains hit Kamiak Butte. With the location of the Kamiak Butte being in eastern Washington, it puts it in a moderate climate area, with enough rainfall to not be considered a desert. This also puts the Kamiak Butte in a marine-modified continental macroclimate that consists of higher and lower temperatures. From this ridge, the north and south aspect have been created, with the south having little to no vegetation and trees, to the north which has a dense thriving forest consisting of a large population of trees and vegetation growth. Solar radiation levels hitting the south side of the range make it difficult for that vegetation to grow, compared to the following side which gets less amount of that solar radiation due to the sun rising and setting. With that, the differences in the ecosystems are clearly shown, one being more green than the other. This table shows average temperatures and other statistics such as the high and low temps, precipitation, snowfall, and depth just over a 70-year time span to show how the climate has reacted and changed. These averages during the months can show what type of climate is normal and why plants and trees can thrive on the north side of Kamiak Butte. For example, the summer months show the highest temperature as expected, but the winter months show the most precipitation. A biome is classified as a community of plants and animals that have some common characteristics for the environment that they exist in. For our case, Kamiak Butte is inland, so it is referenced as a land or terrestrial biome. The biome is considered to be a western interior temperate shrubland and woodland that includes the Columbia Plateau and the Great Basin in the same macroclimate. Woodland and shrubland biomes are both present in the overall coverage of Kamiak Butte. Vegetation is composed mostly of drought-tolerant conifer trees, overstory shrubs, and understory grasses. The south side would be considered a shrubland area because of all of its grasses and short shrubs, also containing fewer trees. The biome split evenly in terms of environmental conditions which are seen on each of the aspects. They each have their own unique set of climate, flora, fauna, solar radiation, topography, soil, elevation, and biota. The north aspect is what you would classify as a woodland. In a community of woodland vegetation, it is thick and dense, covered in green forest plants and coverage, and found at a lower elevation. Whereas the south aspect is considered a shrubland in a community which is very lightly covered in vegetation. This area is relatively flat, rough, uneven, and dotted with a few trees that reside on top of the butte at higher elevations. Kamiak Butte's north aspect's ground vegetation is very dense and green, thriving from the surrounding nutrients, along with the tree growth that is dominating, especially up in its canopy coverage from above. The organic matter on the side of the butte allows the vegetation to grow fast and healthy. As compared to the north side, the south aspect is drier with more understory grasses and less dense tree coverage. Both images are of the ground vegetation on the south aspect. The lowest soils on this side are very shallow due to the lack of organic matter, installation, high winds, and angle of the slope. Thus, vegetation cannot grow as healthy and green. Kamiak Butte is home to a very diverse forest community of plants and animals. Approximately 130 bird species, more than 170 plant species, and upward to 30 mammal species. A select few of the animals and plants are endangered, which makes it a unique place to visit. As such, great horned owls and many other bird species fly through Kamiak and rest along this place during their flights. Many ungulates also pass through on their travels across the crop fields of the Palouse. Examples can be seen with predators such as cougars and coyotes. The ridge can be home to many small animals as well. A few of the most common species that can be found at the butte are deer, porcupine, and mice. The vegetation on Kamiak is outstanding. The butte has a small variety of trees living on it, like the Douglas fir and the ponderosa pine, but with that you can find shade-loving flowers and brush, such as trillium, yellowbells, ocean spray, ninebark, and fairy slippers, along with many ferns, such as sword and bracken. They can be found in the underbrush of other vegetation on the butte. Each of these plants play their own special role in the ecosystem in which they thrive in. The conifers give shade to the shade-tolerant vegetation and provide limbs for other plants to grow on. Flowering vegetation that is spread out along the butte soil is very pretty during the summer months, such as seeing the colors from many wildflowers with the mixed green, dense forest plants. The Palouse is full of unique and beautiful vegetation, but rare plants are even more exciting. Throughout the land, you can find plants that catch your eye, and while walking along the trails of Kamiak Butte, you can observe these plants in their communities. Among the rare plants found at the Palouse and on Kamiak would be the Palouse thistle, Palouse goldenweed, Jessica's star, Spalding's catchfly, and the broadflute Mariposa lily. In conclusion, the landscape of Kamiak Butte is home to many plants and animals, but is also a wonderful recreational area for those who enjoy the outdoors. This beautiful area is perfect for everyone, and you can even bring your dogs along. You can overlook all around the landscape and see different areas across the fields that are surrounding the butte. Kamiak Butte has a lot of light to give to others, with being such a relatively easy location to visit, it makes trips to explore the ridge not too difficult to accomplish.